Lasagna Bolognese, the famous Italian classic from the city of Bologna. This traditional lasagna bolognese recipe has just 4 main ingredients. You'll learn how to make each of these ingredients step by step, from the decadent Ragu Bolognese sauce, to the fresh handmade spinach pasta, to the creamy bechamel. Feel free to prepare any of these ingredients in advance. They all freeze really well. Let's get started. Lasagna Bolognese takes its name from the traditional Ragu Bolognese sauce, which is the lasagna's main ingredient. In a large skillet, melt 7 tablespoons of butter. In the butter, saute 3 ribs of minced celery, 1 minced carrot, and 1 medium onion. When the vegetables are soft and translucent, add the diced pancetta to the center of the pan, a little over ½ pound. When the pancetta is cooked, add 1 1/4 pound of ground beef. After the beef is cooked through, add 1 cup of red wine, a little at a time. Here we are using Chianti. When the wine has reduced, add 21 ounces of tomato puree. Cover and simmer over low heat for at least 2 hours. Add a small amount of beef broth during the simmer if the sauce begins to dry out too quickly. After the 2 hours, slowly add whole milk, a total of 2 cups, and cook for another hour. The milk will counteract any acidity coming from the tomato and wine. And salt and pepper to taste. Our ragu ready? We're on to step 2, spinach lasagna. The traditional lasagna bolognese recipe requires fresh spinach lasagna. If you can't find spinach lasagna, feel free to use pre-boiled dry lasagna noodles, or better yet, make it yourself. We'll need enough pasta for 5 layers. Here, an Italian grandma shows us how to make it from scratch. To make spinach pasta for lasagna, start by boiling 5.5 ounces of fresh spinach for about a minute, or until wilted. Transfer the spinach to cold water. Drain it well. Then blend it to a smooth puree. Here we're using an immersion blender to do the job. To make the pasta, we'll also need about 3½ cups of all-purpose flour and 3 whole eggs, and of course our spinach. Start with about 3 cups of flour and add more as needed. Mix the ingredients for the pasta in a large bowl until they come together in a rough ball. Knead the pasta until it is smooth and elastic. If you don't have the stamina of an Italian grandma, feel free to use a stand mixer with a dough hook attachment to knead the dough. When you press it with your finger, the finished pasta dough should bounce back, like this. Cover and let the pasta dough rest in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. After the rest, cut off about 1/4 of the dough and cover the rest of the dough until you are ready to use it. Now, it's time to stretch the dough. This can be done using a pasta machine or by hand using a rolling pin. Pass the pasta through the pasta roller at the widest setting, twice. Now, reduce the space between the rollers with each pass. The final lasagna noodle should be a little less than 1 millimeter in thickness. When you hold it up to the light, you should be able to see your hand through it. Transfer the finished pasta onto a towel or other floured surface. Repeat with the remaining dough until you have enough lasagna for 5 layers in the pan of your choice. With any pasta left over, you can make tagliatelle. Once the lasagna noodles are finished, cut them to fit in your pan. Cut the lasagna just a touch shorter than the pan, as the pasta will expand a bit after we boil it. You may need to cut some noodles lengthwise to fill the pan, as our Italian grandma shows here. The pan we are using is 20 by 30 centimeters, or roughly 8 by 10 inches. Store the lasagna in the refrigerator until you are ready to assemble the lasagna. Gently boil each pasta noodle for about a minute. Transfer the pasta to a towel to cool until you are ready to assemble. And it's time to make the bechamel, called bechamel in Italian. In Italy, bechamel is so commonly used it can be purchased pre-prepared in the grocery. However, bechamel is easy to make and certainly tastier when you make it at home. To make the bechamel for our lasagna bolognese, heat up 4 1/4 cups of whole milk. Do not heat the milk to the point of boiling. Keep the milk hot while you prepare the roux. Melt 7 tablespoons of butter in a large pot. Then add 3/4 cup of flour a little at a time, stirring vigorously. When all of the flour has been added and the roux is smooth, add the hot milk a ladle at a time. Whisk continuously. A roux is just a mix of flour and butter to create a thickener for our sauce. After all of the milk has been added, add a pinch of salt and nutmeg to taste. Increase the heat, stirring continuously until the bechamel thickens, and coat the back of a spoon or spatula, like this. If you prefer a lighter version, replace the butter with about 6 tablespoons of olive oil. And finally, it's time to assemble our lasagna bolognese. Coat the bottom of the pan with bechamel. Add a layer of lasagna and about 7 ounces of the ragu, followed by about 1/2 cup of bechamel. Sprinkle with about 4 tablespoons of grated Parmigiano. Be sure to use real Parmigiano Reggiano, freshly grated. So-called Parmesan is almost never used in Italy and lacks the incredible flavor of this classic Italian cheese. Repeat until you have made 5 layers. Bake the lasagna bolognese in a preheated 400-degree Fahrenheit static oven for 25 minutes. If you're using a fan oven, bake at 350 for 15 minutes. Bake until the top of the lasagna is a crispy golden brown. Let the lasagna rest for about 10 minutes before cutting. And here it is, the traditional lasagna bolognese, ready to enjoy with family or friends and a bottle of good wine. E buon appetito! Subscribe below for more recipes like this from Italy and beyond.